The movie opens in New York City in the year 2095, where genetically altered humans live alongside aliens and other beings. But humans dominate other beings and have reduced them to second-class citizens. These beings arrived on Earth through the inclusion zone, a mysterious vortex that suddenly appeared, engulfing Central Park and sealing it off. While the force field allows the beings to leave, anyone who attempts to enter is instantly killed. One day, a giant pyramid appears hovering above the city, and there we see an ancient Egyptian god named Horus, who has the head of a falcon. He was judged by his own kind and sentenced to death for the crime of rebellion. With only 7 days left before his execution, he returns to witness the world he once helped build and leave behind a legacy. To achieve this, Horus has decided to obtain a human body and reproduce with a chosen woman within that short time. The scene then cuts to a company called Eugenics, which controls the entire government and is deeply involved in illegal experiments on aliens. It dominates the synthetic implant market in human bodies, and to carry out its tests, it captures and arrests aliens from the streets. One of those taken is an alien woman named Jill, with striking blue hair and skin as white as snow. She tries to resist the abduction but is quickly overpowered by security guards. When she arrives at Eugenics, she is selected by a doctor named Elma Turner as a subject for study, since Elma is fascinated by the unusual traits of the young woman's body. During their interaction, Elma discovers that Jill is taking a mysterious pill, something that immediately intrigues her because she cannot identify it. It turns out that Jill has no memories of her past, and even more disturbingly, her organs are completely abnormal for an adult as they appear to be less than 3 months old. Intrigued by these anomalies, Elma requests permission to study Jill, promising in return to help her obtain a new identity and settle in New York. Later, we see cars flying across the city, and a news reporter is seen accusing a senator named Allgood of spreading rumors that the intrusion zone in Central Park is a breeding ground for dangerous mutants. This deeply worries Senator Allgood and his assistant, as they have worked hard to gain public trust. He is also unsettled by the recent killings of 4 individuals and discusses the matter with an inspector named Frobe, who believes the crimes may be the work of a serial killer. The next day, we see Jill riding a flying taxi as she arrives at a secluded location to meet a man named John, whose face is covered with a cloth. She excitedly hugs him, and it is revealed that he is her close friend and mentor. John explains that he is struggling to adapt to the planet as his body is being rejected by the atmosphere and slowly burned by oxygen. Jill then tells him about Dr. Elma's offer to use her as a guinea pig in exchange for a comfortable life in New York, so John encourages her to accept the deal. Later, Horus grows increasingly frustrated as he cannot find a suitable human host. It is revealed that he has been unintentionally killing people across the city. Horus actually intends to inhabit them, but due to incompatibility with the genetically altered human bodies, each host self-destructs during the process. One day, several cryogenic capsules containing prisoners fall from the sky and crash violently to the ground due to a technical malfunction. The police rush in to secure the perimeter, but Eugenics employees arrive shortly after and eliminate the officers. They then begin collecting the frozen bodies, but miss one capsule, which is hidden from view. Later, Inspector Frobe arrives at the crash site, but he finds nothing except a severed leg left behind. He then approaches the senator and throws the severed leg at him, demanding that he address the situation. Frobe is convinced that the corrupt senator is responsible for all these unfolding crises. Elsewhere, we see that Horus has managed to rescue the man who was left behind in the last capsule. It turns out his name is Nicopol, a famous revolutionary who still has 1 year left to serve his sentence. When Nicopol wakes up, Horus greets him, and Nicopol initially thinks he is in the afterlife but soon realizes that he is alive and missing a leg. Horus then creates an artificial metal leg for him, but it is too heavy for Nicopol to use. Horus makes him move and then reveals that Nicopol cannot move even an inch without his magical power sustaining him. As they talk, Horus explains that Nicopol's body is ideal for hosting him, as he has been frozen for 30 years, making him clean and physically strong. Later, Nicopol is identified by the senator's staff through DNA taken from the severed leg. This discovery causes the senator immense concern, as Nicopol knows many secrets about his family, including his illegal dealings with Eugenics. It is revealed that this is the very reason Nicopol was arrested and imprisoned 30 years ago. Elsewhere, we see Jill arriving at her new hotel room, provided to her by Dr. Elma. She begins tasting different foods and carefully writing down her reactions, as instructed by the doctor. She also takes a blue tablet given to her by John, which is meant to help in her transformation into a real human. Later, she watches TV, but everything she sees is focused on Senator Allgood, who is trying to establish contact with the floating pyramid in the center of the city. The reports also highlight how many people have attempted to enter the intrusion zone only to die in the process. Elsewhere, Nicopol is being chased by goons sent by Senator Allgood. However, since he is now inhabited by Horus, gunfire has no effect on him, and he manages to escape by flying. The senator is later informed that Nicopol was shot and fell from several hundred meters, but since no body was recovered, he cannot fully relax. Still desperate to eliminate Nicopol at any cost, he now turns to Eugenics for help. The company thus immediately deploys its deadly creation, a monstrously terrifying humanoid beast known as the Dyak. Meanwhile, Nikopol and Horus are seen talking about women. Horus asks whether his host has any interest in them and reveals that he has been following a woman with blue hair and white skin across multiple planets and even galaxies. Meanwhile, Jill enters a secret room and puts on an astronaut suit. She then embarks on a journey across space, eventually meeting John once again. He explains that for many years he has been helping lost and aimless beings who were teleported to the wrong location due to strange alterations in the cosmos. That is what the blue pills are for, so she won't remember her past and can fully focus on her new life. John adds that his cycle is coming to an end, and soon he will have to leave, which makes Jill emotional. Later, Jill arrives at a bar for drinks, where Nikopol also shows up and begins talking with her. It turns out that the woman Horus is searching for is none other than Jill, so Nikopol tries his best to charm her, but she shows no interest. Horus then uses his powers to control her mind, and the two soon end up heading to her hotel room, all while being followed by a police officer. However, Dyak suddenly appears and kills the officer, stealing his memory chip to deliver to eugenics. When the two arrive at the room, Horus takes control of Nikopol's body to become intimate with Jill, believing she is the woman destined to bear his child. The next morning, Jill wakes up to find a black feather in her bed. Soon after, a hotel staff member and a eugenics employee arrive at her doorstep, and it turns out they've come to arrest Nikopol, but strangely, he is nowhere to be seen. Even more bizarrely, there is no bathroom in the room. Instead, there is a painting of the pyramid exactly where the bathroom should have been. After the men leave, the bathroom reappears, and inside it, Jill finds Nikopol relaxing in the bathtub. She is shocked to see him and cannot remember what happened, so Nikopol explains that they had intercourse last night. Jill becomes angry and points a gun at him, while he tries to tell her that his body is being controlled by someone else. But before he can say more, he struggles to breathe and briefly freezes, prompting a confused Jill to walk out of the room. While all this is happening, Inspector Frobe is trying to recover the cop's memories, which were stolen by Dyak. Senator Allgood then obtains images of Jill and Nikopol, along with a trace of her scent extracted from her tears, which will allow the Dyak to track them more effectively. We return to the hotel room, where Nikopol complains about everything Horus forced him to do with Jill, insisting he will never share his body with the arrogant, self-serving god. But Horus demands that they make love to Jill again and even demonstrates his power to show Nikopol can't even move an inch without him. Elsewhere, Jill is wandering in the city when she is suddenly captured by Dyak and a group of eugenics henchmen. They prepare to hurt her, but at the last moment, Horus appears and effortlessly uses his powers to save her. He then carries the unconscious girl back to the hotel room and tells Nikopol that, due to the trauma she has just experienced, her memory will need to be erased. He further states that together they will have to love her, protect her, and impregnate her, but Nikopol finds this deeply disturbing. Sometime later, Jill wakes up and is stunned to find Nikopol still in her room. They begin talking and getting to know each other more deeply, and things go very well between them. They proceed to drink and dance together, and eventually end up making love. The following day, Jill goes to a snow-covered Central Park to meet John. She tells him that she has met someone she likes, and John encourages her to accept her emotions, as they are part of human nature. When she says she only loves him, John gently points out that it isn't love she feels, but trust and dependence. Later, Jill returns to her room, where she and Nikopol share an honest conversation. Nikopol apologizes, explaining that the entity within him compels him to become intimate with her, but Jill forgives him. Elsewhere, Elma discovers that Jill is pregnant, so she goes to a bar where Jill frequently visits. However, she cannot find Jill there and instead comes across John, who calmly reassures her that everything will be fine and there is no need to worry. But before she can leave, Elma is approached by Inspector Frobe, who has overheard the entire conversation and offers his help. Later, Dyak arrives at Jill's room through the sewer system to attack Nikopol and Jill, but just in the nick of time, John appears with a flying car to rescue them. The duo quickly gets inside, and as they are about to escape, Dyak grabs onto the vehicle from behind. However, the car is too powerful, and Dyak's hand is badly injured as it is torn away. As they manage to get away, Inspector Frobe arrives at the scene with Elma, and upon seeing the Dyak's remains, he immediately understands what they are now up against. In the meantime, the senator goes to the Pyramid of Horus, convinced that the aliens he has experimented on for years may have returned to seek revenge. He attempts to make contact, but the moment he touches the pyramid, he is pulled inside and vanishes without a trace. Not long after, John, Jill, and Nikopol arrive at the intrusion zone where no one else can follow. John explains that he must leave forever and shares an emotional goodbye with Jill. He then gives her a red pill, which will transform her into a fully human being and erase all her memories. Jill is devastated, but she takes the pill anyway, and John's body disappears, leaving only his clothes behind. At that moment, Dyak appears to attack Nikopol, but just in time, Horus manifests and uses his powers to destroy the creature. Then the pyramid reappears in the sky and drops Senator Allgood's lifeless body to the ground. Next, Horus tells Nikopol that his mission is now over and says goodbye to his host. As a gesture of gratitude, he gives Nicopole the ability to walk properly without any difficulty. Horus also bids farewell to Jill, though she seems clueless since she has lost all her memories. However, he tells her that she carries something very valuable that belongs to him and asks her to take good care of it. Horus then spreads his wings and returns to the pyramid to face his judgment. Moments later, the police arrive and arrest Nicopole for attempted escape, leaving him no chance to say goodbye to Jill. The scene then cuts to a year later when we see that the intrusion zone has been opened to the public. Nicopole has finally been released from prison after completing his sentence. It turns out he has even written a book about his experience with Horus, which has become a bestseller. He then meets Elma and asks about Jill, to which she reveals that Jill is in Paris. In the final scene, Nicopole arrives in Paris where he meets Jill, who now has a blue baby that has the ability to transform into a falcon. Nicopole begins talking with her, and although she doesn't recognize him, they connect easily, hinting that they may rekindle their romance. As the movie ends, the camera pans up to the pyramid ship where Horus rests sealed inside a sarcophagus, a faint spark of light still glowing in his eyes.